In the ever-evolving world of The Division 2, 2024 stands out as a pivotal year, marked by Season 3 and Project Resolve, shaking things up. But amidst all the chaos, there's one thing that's been turning heads: hybrid skill builds. But in Season 3, amidst the game changers, there's also the misfits. Now let's talk about the odd one, Aegis. If you've asked the community where it fits in the game, you'd probably be met with a puzzled look. And rightfully so. Aegis seems to have one job: providing resistance. Sounds cool, right? But here's the kicker. Is that enough to stand toe-to-toe with the big guys? Not quite.
Come on, man!
Without a way to recover, relying solely on resistance feels like delaying the inevitable: an armor kit or certain death. So is Aegis really worth it compared to other tanky gear sets we already have? Not without some tweaks. Where does that leave Aegis? Destined to exist without an identity? Well, hold on. Aegis isn't down for the count just yet. It's found a groove in a hybrid skill build. Here it's not about what Aegis lacks, but how we can use its unique traits to our advantage. By blending it with the right attributes and synergies, we can create a build that's tough as nails and dishes out serious damage. So let me take you on a journey through a build you've never seen before, where a seemingly dead-on-arrival gear set finds its identity and proves its worth.
Can we talk about what you did to the chicken? Yeah, I'm not buying it.
What? I'm trying to dig the way out. I'm only in the tack dog. How late you wanna stay out? It's past your curfew when it's dark. I'm searching for you in the park. Shady murdered him, another person. He just hit his mark. He met his quota for the month. They found a coda all rolled up inside a bag. He probably dragged the body for about a block.
Let's dig into the mysterious world of Aegis, the enigmatic addition to The Division 2 brought by Season 3. In a game where every set and talent seems to have a clear purpose, Aegis stands out with its ambiguous role. Now let's break down what Aegis brings to the table. Equipping just 2 pieces grants you a significant boost to health and total armor, making you a bit sturdier on the battlefield. But it's when you complete the set with all 4 pieces that things get interesting. You unlock the bonus talent called Stoic, which lets you build up resistance to all incoming damage based on how many enemies are targeting you. Sounds pretty cool, right? There's no mention of a cap, so theoretically the potential for resistance seems unlimited. However, there's a gear set gauge that says otherwise. If you decide to include the chest piece as part of your full set, you will unlock an additional bonus talent. This one allows you to use your decoy to buy even more resistance. And if you opt for the Aegis backpack, your resistance scaling gets a boost. But there's a slight hiccup due to a typo, which adds a bit of confusion about the exact increase in resistance. The allure of Aegis is undeniable. Who wouldn't want to feel like an unstoppable force on the battlefield? But here's the reality check. Despite its impressive sounding perks, Aegis falls short of expectations when put to the test in actual combat situations. Instead of confidently facing down enemies, Aegis wearers often find themselves scrambling to cover not too long after they left it, undermining the confidence that should come with wearing such formidable gear. This disconnect between the expectation of resilience and the reality of vulnerability lies at the heart of Aegis' struggle to find a place in The Division 2.
The key to happiness is low expectations.
How far does that take you in life?
I'm here, ain't I? I'd say I'm doing pretty good for myself. But no matter how low I lower the bar of expectations, some people still manage to find a way to slide under it.
Yeah, that's life. We need to talk about tank builds. Tank builds structured upon enemy aggression aren't a brand new concept to the game. Sets like Foundry Bulwark follow a similar premise. But here's the twist. Instead of relying solely on upfront resistance like Aegis, Foundry Bulwark focuses on constant healing based on damage received. This means that while you're taking hits, you're also steadily regenerating armor, effectively countering incoming damage in real time. It's like having a personal patch-up crew on standby. So why doesn't Aegis inspire the same level of confidence as a Bulwark build? Well, it comes down to a few key factors. Firstly, Aegis lacks a reliable form of recovery, which seriously impacts its effectiveness in prolonged fights. Without a way to replenish armor or mitigate damage over time, players will find themselves vulnerable and unable to sustain. Moreover, the limited number of attribute slots available with Aegis hinders players' ability to optimize their builds for both recovery and damage output. having the right balance is essential, especially if you're not invulnerable. While Aegis does offer impressive defensive capabilities, its lack of recovery mechanism and limited damage potential hold it back from truly excelling in combat. Without the ability to swiftly dispatch enemies or sustain damage over time, players can quickly find themselves overwhelmed in intense firefight situations. Additionally, Aegis relies on being targeted by enemies to activate its defensive bonuses effectively. This reliance on specific combat conditions further limits its versatility and makes it less adaptable to different scenarios. In the Division 2, player confidence is everything, really it is. Whether you're playing as a tank, a damage dealer, or something in between, your build needs to instill confidence in your ability to fulfill that role effectively. If a build falls short in providing that confidence, it's back to the drawing board. And that's where Aegis's weaknesses are ultimately exposed. Gear sets like Aegis face a tough challenge due to their limited attribute slots compared to their high-end build brothers. While gear sets offer specialized benefits, this restriction on customization affects users' ability to tailor their builds to their preferred playstyle and content. Let's take a look at the Striker gear set, known as the go-to choice for damage dealers in the Division 2. Striker is all about maximizing damage output. However, this narrow focus on damage comes at the expense of versatility compared to hybrid sets like Hunter's Fury, which offer a mix of damage, recovery, and crowd control. Striker's effectiveness lies in its ability to secure quick kills. Because it does this so well, it not only maintains effective time to kill ratios, but also enables players to enhance their survivability within the constraints of limited attribute spaces. But a damage build like Striker can function in a cover-based shooter without additional elements to recover if you had to, or if you prefer it that way. On the other hand, Aegis is built solely on resistance, which poses a challenge as it cannot function effectively alone without additional components such as damage and/or recovery. However, due to the limited attribute slots, players must make tough decisions when trying to balance both aspects in their Aegis build. Prioritizing recovery may lead to diminished viability compared to tanks using the Foundry Bulwark set, while focusing on damage may restrict weapon choices and make it difficult to achieve effective damage output without sacrificing survivability. It's a delicate balancing act, and Aegis users don't have enough space to optimize the build for their playstyle and combat needs. Here's the good news. Amidst the trial and error, Aegis' potential shines through the synergies discovered in the realm of hybrid skill builds. The key to a solid skill build lies in skill tiers. With options to fine-tune minor attributes like skill haste or skill damage, users can really tailor their build to their liking. By incorporating Aegis into a hybrid skill build, players trade off some potential skill damage and haste for the resilience offered by resistance. However, this trade-off opens up a unique playstyle focused on using resistance to redefine combat dynamics. One clever strategy involves utilizing memento trophies, which provide significant boosts to various attributes like armor, weapon damage, and skill efficiency. By stepping out of cover to collect these trophies, players activate a mini overcharge effect, boosting all aspects of their build's effectiveness, including that resilience. But here's where it gets really interesting. The synergy between ballistic skills and Aegis is particularly remarkable. Ballistic skills not only deal damage, but also divert enemy attention away from the player and towards the skill itself. Since Aegis' power is tied to the number of enemies targeting the player, this creates a feedback loop where using skills draws enemy aggression, consequently boosting the Aegis resistance. Thus, this hybrid skill damage tank build addresses the weaknesses of traditional skill builds by providing the necessary resilience to capitalize on valuable performance boosts out of cover, while also ensuring effective damage and recovery. By making strategic trade-offs like sacrificing some skill damage and haste to boost resilience, players can create builds that not only endure but excel in the toughest of battles. With this perspective, Aegis evolves from a misunderstood outsider to a crucial component in inventive gameplay strategy. But it's not out of the woods yet. I've got some feedback for the developers. While Aegis has some decent bones that hold promise, there are areas where it could be fine-tuned to better suit the needs of the Division 2 player base. One crucial aspect to address is the structure of the gear itself. While health certainly contributes to survivability, many players well, all players, prefer to allocate their resources elsewhere, given the abundance of armor-based attributes available. To maximize Aegis potential, it could benefit from reallocating some attributes to focus more on recovery-related aspects. Attributes like armor regen, repair skills, incoming repairs, and armor on kill could find a better home within the 2-piece bonus, allowing players to customize their builds more effectively to suit their playstyles. The 15% total armor bonus is a step in the right direction, but the effectiveness of the...
You ever wonder where they find those guys?
Which guys?
The big Oompa Loompas wearing the armor suits.
The Chungas? Yeah, I guess so.
You think they put out an ad in the paper? Big dumb guy wanted. Must be big and dumb. 401k matching provided.
The effectiveness of the 4-piece gear set talent could be further improved, increasing its base resistance values or implementing more aggressive scaling based on the number of enemies targeted would provide a more satisfying gameplay experience for those good at drawing enemy fire. Also, introducing additional bonuses tied to the number of enemies engaged could help fill in the gaps and solidify Aegis' unique identity within the game. Whether it's bonus damage, regeneration, or hazard protection gains, these enhancements would not only address Aegis' current shortcomings, but also enrich its gameplay mechanics. Ultimately, these changes are crucial to ensure that Aegis remains a viable and appealing gear set option within the game's limited stash space. Let's jump into the build details. I'm missing a couple of attributes, but the build's still in pretty good shape. Let's get straight into the details. So you're gonna wanna start with Technician, and that's because Technician is gonna give you 10% skill damage, but also that extra skill tier and additional damage to robotics, which is extremely helpful for legendary content. The primary weapon I'm using for the Aegis gear set is the Capacitor. So this recently got a buff because of Project Resolve, so it's got 10% more base weapon damage, but you're also able to reroll the attribute, which I did, to damage to targets out of cover instead of damage to health. So this applies to more things. So this gives you 60% skill damage to each of your skills when you have it fully stacked, which is pretty easy to do, point and shoot. And then the weapon itself is picking up 7.5% weapon damage per skill tier. We got 6 of those. And then for mods, we got 10% crit chance, 30% crit damage, handling, and a larger mag. So let's take a look at the gear set. So of course we got the 70% health, 15% total armor, and then stoic. So we're gonna get 3% damage resistance for every enemy that is targeting you, which is pretty juicy. The bonus is multiplied by 1.x depending on the number of agents in the group. And then what you're gonna wanna do is get pieces that look like this. And the easiest way to do that is to farm targeted loot in the open world, to get season caches, or to go into countdown. I was just farming Aegis in general, and inevitably you're gonna get skill damage, but don't focus on perfection, focus on progress. So if you don't get skill damage, armor regen is a good replacement or placeholder until you get yours. So be sure to put skill tier on everything and protection from elites, which is gonna give you even more resilience. Helpful against Chungas and those elite explosions, but really helpful against heroic open world content where there's tons of elites. You're basically invulnerable with this thing. It's quite amazing. So my second piece is the gloves, and as you can see, I don't have skill damage on this one, but I'm cool with the armor regen for now. And then the knees, I got skill damage and a skill tier, and the holster is the final piece of Aegis with armor regen also and skill tier. Again, we want skill damage there when we can. For the chest piece, this is clutch. Palisade Steelworks, brand new to the game with Season 3. Gives you 10% armor on kill, so quick boost and heals. And yes, even when your skills get the kill, you get that armor on kill. An alternative would be Bellstone chest piece for 1% armor regen if you prefer to go that way. And if you're doing a lot of legendary, even Lengmo might be interesting with its explosive resistance. Armor regen, skill damage as you would expect, and more protection from elites. Hey, if your protection from elites aren't maxed out like mine, don't sweat it. Just go with whatever you have. Now the talent is kinetic momentum. You do want kinetic momentum over glass cannon because glass cannon will force you back into cover sooner, where kinetic momentum doesn't have a drawback. However, it only supports your skills and doesn't buff your weapons, but it's pretty good. 15% per skill. Okay, the backpack is essential. You really want this. So of course it has the 3 cores and protection from elites, but we're really playing into the short-term buffs, and that's the purpose of the synergy. So why would a skill build need to get out of cover? Well, to grab the trophies, of course. And why do you want to grab the trophies? Because there's nothing better than a short-term buff. It's like a mini overcharge. So we're running 6 skill tiers. And so every time you grab that trophy, trophy, instantly you're gonna get 30% skill efficiency, instantly, off of one trophy. And you can stack those. So when you get out of cover to grab that trophy, you're making your skills stronger that are thereby gonna kill another enemy and grab another trophy. So you're just gonna be moving from trophy to trophy to trophy. Your skills, as well as your character, are all gonna be pulling aggro together, keeping your Aegis meter full. So you can have maximum resistance, as well as you're picking up bonus armor. You're picking up 10% bonus armor per blue core. You got 2 of those. So on top of the resistance that Aegis is giving you, you're getting bonus armor at 20%, which is just shy of 300,000 in bonus armor. That also picks up that resistance. So your white armor gets resistance, and your bonus armor gets the resistance from Aegis. And your white armor gets the resistance, and your bonus armor gets the resistance from the protection from elites when you're taking on those dudes. So that's some durable stuff happening right there. Underneath it all, you're getting 3% armor regen. So you got the 10% armor on kill, 20% bonus armor on kill, 3% armor regen. And you get 30% weapon damage when you have a full stack of trophies, and 5% more weapon damage every time you pick up a fresh one. Very strong build. I'm impressed on how it performs. If you're familiar with the Game Over build that we've been playing for several seasons and kind of put it on the God tier series of skill builds, this one hangs with it. I don't know which one's better. It's different, but that doesn't matter. This works and it's great. And I gotta tell you, the synergy, the fact that my skills are picking up aggro and all the enemies are focused on them to peek out Stoic's resistance is absolutely amazing. And we love to see synergies like that come to play. We created this during one of the hybrid skill build live streams over the weekend. And so there's a lot of legendary gameplay and heroic gameplay of me using this. But hopefully what I'm showing you here does the job in highlighting what this build's potential is. And this isn't the last build I'm going to be creating for Aegis. Out of this series of testing and analysis, some other ideas popped up that I think will actually be very useful in this game. Either way, it's not a perfect gear set, but by tapping into Aegis's unique strengths and pairing it with complementary attributes, we can craft builds that thrive in even the most intense encounters. And so what's exciting about this, it's also difficult, is that it's encouraging us to unleash our creativity and redefine what it means to be a top tier agent in the Division 2, especially when it comes to making builds, designing them. So dive in, explore the possibilities. You can't really fail here. You could just evolve. Now that we've delved into the potential of the Aegis hybrid skill build, we're eager to hear your thoughts. How do you envision Aegis enhancing your gameplay? Is it a game changer for you, or do you still view it as a misfit in your arsenal? Share your insights, strategies, and experiences with us in the comments below. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is TuxedoBandido. That's Tito Bandito.
You know it!
And this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
Follow me.
I get it.